Like Germany is the favorite right now, but Serbia arguably was prior to that, before Nikola Jokic and the Serbians lost to Finland this week. They lost 92-86 in a very close game against Finland. They were without Bogdan Bogdanovic, who has a torn hamstring, but I'm not so sure that would have made the biggest difference in that game. Finland played a really high-level game, great energy throughout the game, shot well, and then at the end of the game, really the whole fourth quarter, I felt like they just had the perfect strategy of just target Jokic over and over and over and over. They brought him out to the perimeter. And the difference for Jokic between like teams doing that in the NBA versus teams doing that against Serbia is that in the NBA, he has Aaron Gordon behind him protecting the rim. He has size behind him helping as defensive players. For Serbia, I just don't think they had enough personnel to support Jokic on defense. But ultimately, it was the right strategy for Finland, just exposing him on the perimeter. Like that's always what teams are going to try to do against him.
Yeah, that's true. First of all, I'm offended that you're using Eurohoop's Instagram and social media on this one instead of Basket News. Okay, I'm joking. But the thing is that, yeah,
I'll tell my producers to delete all those ones out of here. Get them out. Basket News only.
Yeah, it was a weird game, and you could actually predict that that's what Finland is going to do because they're bigs. All the bigs that they can shoot threes. And in a game against Turkey, you could feel that Jokic's presence on the court defensively might be a problem. Alperen Şengün was killing him, and Jokic didn't even try to contest his three-pointers. And I think that Alperen hit his career-high three-pointers in that game, and he was crucial. So Finland with Lauri Markkanen, with Mikael Jantunen, eventually with this 18-year-old kid, Mika Murinen, shooting those threes in front of his face, they just killed Serbia and Jokic. And I mean, there are a lot of different opinions here in Europe right now that, Jokic was targeted. He didn't have great teammates around to kind of try to hide him in those defensive coverages. But at the same time, some other teams proved that it's doable, and some missed more impact of the head coach Svetislav Pesic, who didn't actually adjust to Finland's game plan. Of course, you could say that Finland was also lucky a little bit because some role players that you didn't expect them to display this crazy performance, they hit some important big shots. Again, this Mika Murinen, 18-year-old NBA prospect, he didn't hit a single three-pointer before that game against Serbia. He was 0 from 4. In the fourth quarter, in basically 60 seconds, he gets Nikola Jokic in front of him, and he just shoot those threes. He made those 2 3-pointers, which were crucial. So it's been like some luck from Finland's side, some, let's say, uncomfortable matchups compared to Serbia and Finland, and at the same time, a full package of problems that Serbia had, because I kind of called Germany as a clear favorite because so far in the tournament, they looked as favorites. Serbia was more of a favorite on paper. Throughout the whole group stage, they were dealing with a lot of issues. You mentioned Bogdan Bogdanovic. He was out for the competition in his second game. Vasilije Micic, he was supposed to be an important player for the team, but the problem was that I think that he played only one exhibition game before the tournament because of the injury. The last top-level competitive game he had was in February in the NBA, and it looked like he tried to get into his shape throughout the group stage, but he never picked up his game rhythm. You probably remember Aleksa Vramovic, crazy Serbian guard who was, who's like a dog, who's chasing those steals from Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, from Steph Curry, who was giving energy in the last year's Paris Olympics. He got injured during the tournament. And the whole Serbian team was built around Nikola Jokic and Bogdan Bogdanovic. And Bogi Bogdanovic, I don't know if US people understand how important he is for Serbian national team. He's their true leader on and off the floor. And also the whole game was around Jokic and Bogdanovic, because Coach Pesic, he didn't bring the best available players of Serbia. He picked the best players who would fit around those two. And when you miss one, then you have all these problems with the other creators. Now you're facing some problems. So I think it was just a full package of issues and some crazy night for Finland, hitting those threes and getting huge impact from the role players.
I mean, I think you said it. Like without Bogdanovic, you really needed Bicic to be the guy that we saw in Europe for over a decade, the MVP, the champion. Like, but he was not quite that yet. And for him, I'm very glad he went to the NBA just to give it a shot. It hasn't gone great for him, but like as you said, he hasn't played high level basketball for basically this entire year, and even prior to that, he wasn't getting a lot of minutes. So there's probably an element of rust and returning from the injury as well, and they needed him, and he was unable to fill the shoes of Bogdan Bogdanovic, unfortunately. And as you said, a little bit of luck on Finland's side. Like that's the beauty of single elimination tournaments. Sometimes you just have one great game, like these outlier performances, and boom, here you go, you're advancing. And you mentioned Mika Morinen, their 18-year-old player who's a potential top pick in the 2027 NBA draft. Give me a scouting report of Morinen for people who are like, who is this guy? I have no idea anything about Mika Morinen.
Man, I think he's the player with the most swag in this Eurobasket. Again, you're 0 from 4 in the whole tournament. You're facing Serbia, which was ranked number 1 team in the Eurobasket. You're playing against Jokic. You're shooting those threes without no hesitation. You know,
So
other
crazy.
coach could start yelling at you, you know, what the hell are you doing? But he's there in the fourth quarter, he's playing and he's hitting those crucial shots. He's also trash talking a lot. I can guarantee that he was getting messages from the Serbian fans after that game, because he was getting in those trash talk fights with some Serbian players. I would say he's a cocky player. No, on the court, he's acting like a superstar, but that kind of fits his game so far. And that's why he was, I would say, successful, because he was giving spark to his team. I mean, his athletic abilities are crazy. He's 2 meters, 10 centimeters tall, which is 6'11" feet or something.
Yeah, 6'10", 6'11", yep.
There were a lot of put-back dunks. He dunked the ball in transition. You probably all saw those pictures. Him dunking the ball, his length, his size is incredible. Apparently, he can make those important three-pointers. He can play with the ball. Defensively, he can contribute as a great defender coming from the help. So, I mean, he's a very interesting prospect. And, I mean, he's just entering the 12th grade in the high school. So I guess his classmates, he's going to receive a lot of questions from his classmates about his summer.
I mean, a fun summer for him, and we'll see how it goes against Georgia this week. That's who they're going to face off after Georgia upset France over the weekend. France shot only 6 of 36 from 3. Bilal Koulibaly, Wizards' second-year player entering his third year in the NBA. Very disappointing game and tournament for him. 0 of 3, 0 points in their elimination game in 6 games in Eurobasket. Averaged 6.3 points a game, 4.3 rebounds, 0.5 assists. Shot only 41% from the field, only 21% from 3. And I don't want to rag on Koulibaly as young as he is, but like France, when you have Wemby and Gobert and like a lot of these established NBA players not playing for you, they needed some of these younger guys to step up, and they just didn't get that in this entire tournament. And I'd say, I think this is true for the Olympic team, but also true for the team we saw this year in Eurobasket. I think aside from the fact they were missing some of their established NBA players, I feel like France as a country they're missing a point guard. Like they've had too many guys that have been high-ranked prospects who, I know this, that have not panned out. Killian Hayes, Maladon. Like they just have a lot of point guards over the years. Elie Okobo that are okay international players even, but they have not been able to translate to the NBA or become guys that can lead the national team. Do you agree with that? Like the number one hole in the roster for France is the fact they don't have that point guard?
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's been the case for years for them. And I remember that Evan Fournier at some point, he became the main and sole ball handler for that team. And offensively, they were struggling a lot throughout those competitions. But with their experience, with their defense, with their size, they still managed to reach those podium and get those medals. Now, without all these guys, with their experience, with their chemistry, there were a lot of young players, right? The new head coach, a lot of players who made their national team debuts, and a lot of guys who cannot actually make a three-pointer. And as I mentioned, a lack of a point guard who could be a true floor general on the court. And the one who was supposed to be that guy, Matthew Strzel, he was also NBA draft prospect. He is now playing in the EuroLeague, and throughout the exhibition games, he was the one who was, I would say, moving the ball the best. He was the one with more experience from the EuroLeague basketball, from FIBA basketball already. And I thought that he could be the guy to run the show for them, to help the guys to use their strengths. But he got injured on the eve of the Eurobaskets, and they were clearly missing some consistency in that position. A lot of different guys tried to play that role, but they never had this clear leader who could guide the team. And yeah, a lot of comes on their youth, inexperience, inconsistent three-point shooting. And although defensively, they were there, they were intense, they played together. Alexar, by the way, got injured in the beginning of the competition. Yep. He was huge for the team, by the way, especially in that win against Slovenia. I mean, they just faced the wall that we kind of got used to see the French team facing in 2000s, let's say. And everyone was playing zone defense, letting them shoot threes and surviving that way. So, yeah, I mean, again, by their name and status, they were favorites. They were among the top teams in the competition. But the way they played, they didn't look like favorites entering the knockout stage. So, although I didn't expect them to lose, but you know, I'm not that surprised at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I don't think it's overly surprising either. It is an upset for sure, but with so many missing pieces and so many flaws on the roster. Look, I think for the French national team moving forward, it is so critical that this incoming rookie for the Brooklyn Nets, Nolan Traore, ends up being a good player. I think France needs Traore to be that speedster, that energizer, that lead point guard on their rosters moving forward. And we'll see. Like, there's no guarantees with him. He has similar flaws as a lot of these past point guards. Can he shoot? Can he not shoot? And that seems to be the running trend with a lot of French players, is can they actually shoot? And they're missing their best shooter, Victor Wembanyama. I thought it was funny after the game, Mamu, who former teammate of Wemby, said, I can text him now that it's too bad he wasn't here because we would have beat France anyway. It's a great quote. Talking trash to Wemby.
Yeah. Mamu was flying. So now he has all the confidence, and he is rightful to say those words, although sure, they were advancing, but you cannot blame them. They won the game.
Yep. They won that game, and they're advancing.